Yes, we were, fun times. And so I remember when, since I've been down, was you were independent film screenings, starting to move across the United States. It was such an honor. Do you want to share more about your experience with how this film came to be?
Well, this is how this film came to be. Everybody give them a hand. This is a
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me without it? Oh, okay, well, okay.
No, use the mic.
This is the Black Prisoners Caucus Community Group, and this is only part of it. So give them another hand, please. I had been teaching in prisons for a long time, the women's prison and the men's prison, and I didn't go there to make a film. But I met some of the most compassionate, brilliant people, and they taught me about how to teach, to unschool, basically. To not walk in with a curriculum, but walk in with a curriculum, then look at your students and realize you are learning. So even though I taught sociological theory, it came alive in my classroom. And so people think that so it took me like what? 10 years to do this film. My next film cannot take that long. Look at me. Right? But I learned so much. I met their families and everything. A lot of the footage was from the people in the film, building trust. And I can understand someone from the outside coming in saying, oh, can I talk to you about this? But you had to build trust and build trust within. And so a lot of the archival footage you see comes from the basement of some of these wonderful individuals' houses. And so it was based on trust and love. And, and also their ability to really analyze and uncover the culture of punishment. And it made me love children even more, because I realized that America's dirty little secret is that we don't like children. Look at school.
Mm-hmm.
I was volunteering at South Shore, and this little 12-year-old came to me, Chicano, and he said, Miss Gilda, I have to learn to be a parent. This is last year. I said, what do you mean? I thought maybe that's somebody pregnant. I thought, let's talk. I wasn't going to put him down. Let's talk. He says, I never know when somebody's going to come in and take my parents away. That's what he was talking about. And the other person said, he's Somali, and he said, I want to do a film on gun violence. He said, I was walking down the street, and somebody right in front of me killed my cousin. And I said, well, can we do it on both? And I said, what's the connection? And you know what they said? They said mental health. And laws that hate us. That's what he said. Didn't point a finger, he went inside and outside. And that's what I learned, right? And so, when COVID happened and the film came out, I said, well, let me organize. Because the brother and sister on the corner don't go to film festivals. No, we go to film festivals. So I thought, I hate COVID, but here's my chance, because I'm an organizer. I've been an organizer since I was 11 years old in Detroit, Michigan, Ford Motor Companies and all that. And so we would organize. We get people in New York and Chicago to do little things together and come into a person's house and show the film. And so that's how it spread. So now it has been in Asia, Africa, East and West, Tokyo, Japan, all over Europe, and all over the United States, but more importantly, in prisons and in juvenile facilities and at public schools and alternative schools and in middle schools. So, as James Baldwin says, to be an artist is like being a lover. If I love you, I have to show you things you refuse to see. And so I thank them. Let's give them another hand. And this is Shawanda. Nice. Okay. What's my question? Oh, Shawanda. I'm not answering the question here. So I am a member of BPC. I'm an anti-racist organizer.
and I do policy advocacy work. Yeah, I work for BPC, I go to school, Evergreen. I'm gonna say a co-fuck, thank you. And, yeah, so I met Dr. Shepherd, I'll tell you, I met Dr. Shepherd when I was 24, I'm 42, I'll tell you, I don't care, I'm getting old now.
But you look
And
great.
I was very young, and I was not ready, maybe I was a little older. I went to prison when I was 24, so not long after I went, I met Dr. Shepherd. She came in to talk to us about classes, because women inside, first of all, the men had been organizing and having college, access to college, higher ed programs inside Monroe and other facilities in DOC for about 10 years, over 10 years longer than women, right? So we didn't have access, so we were hating, I'm just saying, we was over there mad, and, why do the men get to have classes and we don't, and, we were. Patriarchy. Yeah, patriarchy for sure, and, but Dr. Shepherd, she came in there, she's, started talking to us, taught a sociology class, got other professors to come in, and teach us as well, and then out of that, the Women's Villager program was born inside of DOC, and then from there, things just started to flourish. That's when I really realized I was an organizer though, inside, right? I didn't really know what organizing was or how to really do the work, but I knew that we were doing something inside that prison as women that had not been done before, that was not widely accepted, but it was transformative. And so I'll just end there, let my brothers introduce themselves.
My name is Jermaine J.G. Lewis. I am a proud BPC member. A BPC member, I say, since I walked into the circle in 2008. I came into the system pretty young. I did a little over 16 and a half years. And when I came into the system, I didn't really have a lot of family. I'm not from here, so when I came into the circle, I see a lot of black guys. And before I came to prison, actually, I didn't really see too many black people in Washington like that, So I came to the system and was like, well, I guess this is where we all at, unfortunately. But one of the guys that I met was Mr. Carter here, and another brother named Derek Jones. And I came into the system, I had a little chip on my shoulder. I had a lot of time ahead of me. I've been a gang member since I was 12 years old, and I'm in an environment that I'm not familiar with. I don't know any of these people in here. But the thing that kept me centered was my community ties to the street organization I was a part of. So that was my entry. And then I ended up coming into the circle with this brother here, and like I said, my partner DJ, and DJ told me, he said, hey man, you can do all the rest of your time in here with me, you can go home on time. He said, you're gonna bump your head 1,000 times, you're gonna lose your good time, but you gotta figure it out. So, and sure enough, I did. I bumped my head a whole lot of times. I spent a lot of time in the hole. I went to every institution in Washington State. I didn't spend over 2 years at one prison, the entire 16 and a half years I've been down. So I moved around a lot. But as I moved around a lot, it was always one consistent thing there, which was BPC. I could always go into a circle, no matter what institution I went into. And if they didn't have a BPC there were guys that were there, and we had a home function. So the growth was always happening. I just had to pick up the aspect of growing, and stop bumping my head so many times. So, and I just finally got it together, man, and I'm so proud of my guys. When I came home, before I came home, I heard that we had the BPCCG, and this is what we always talked about, right? So in my mind, I'm like, oh, we about to take over the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the kind of conversations we have on the inside, I'm like, man, ain't no way. So when I came out here and I seen my guys, and I'm so proud of my dudes, and it gave me a better way to enter society and be able to stay on track. Because now I see guys who look just like me that I've been in these cells with, I done walked these halls with, and they out here doing the work. So they don't know I've been paying attention to everything y'all got going on and basically following y'all lead, because these are my examples, And I just appreciate everybody, man, for coming out. I appreciate South Seattle College for having us. I appreciate Mama G. I appreciate my sister, all my brothers here. And with that, I'm complete.
What's up, South Seattle? How y'all doing?
There you go.
First and foremost, man, thank you guys for inviting us out here. You know what I mean, for being able to host this field right after Martin Luther King Day. You know, and I think, you know, just looking in this auditorium, man, you know, the thing that kind of stands out to me is, you know, hearing Willie Williams speak is, you know, the things that the empty seats aren't the ones that are important, it's the ones that are filled, right? And what that means is the people who are here were the people who were supposed to be here. And for our organizing, right, for people who believe that there were changes, believe that the system could change, believe that we could make a difference, it started with a couple of chairs. And in BPC, it was the space in which it was the only space that was ours, right? And as we grew up in prison, education was the thing that we found ourselves going back to. Because every time that we came up with a problem, we realized that we did not yet have the answer to. Yet, we were smart enough to be able to figure it out. And I think the thing that I really attribute, you know what I mean, our curiosity, our perseverance, you know, and our ability to slow our mind and our trauma down enough in order to let some light through was all of the wonderful women who were coming inside prison in order to speak to who we were. The Dr. Shepherds, the Mary Flowers, the Dr. Taylor Rungas, the Janet Prestons. There were community going inside the prison, loving us despite who we were in community. And they were encouraging us that y'all's influence can also be used for the positive. And so, you know, to introduce myself, my name is Kamani Carter. You guys see me in the film. I was a kid who grew up in the system as a little kid, from juvenile off into the adult system. And I learned all of my lessons the hard way. But I had people around me who were willing to kind of nurture my intelligence because they seen something in me that I hadn't seen in myself. So I want to say thank you. You know, to the wonderful Dr. Shepherd for her vision, her wisdom, her foresight of being able to see how much potential we all had. And again, to thank y'all for being able to invite us out here just to be able to speak to y'all, because I think that this will be one of many opportunities for us to be able to work together. So thank y'all for inviting us.
Thank you again. I most definitely have to piggyback off Mr. Carter before I introduce myself and say the people that are in the seats are the one that matters. And I think as I get in, my folks are a little rash, I've been doing a lot of talking. But once I get into the things that we're doing now, I'm going to ask you guys for some help, right? I got some actions that I need as well, because we're community and we're here for a reason, I believe. So I believe that we're all doing the same work and we're going to stay connected. Well, my name is Willie Nobles. I'm also in the field. Me and Carter was from the beginning of the TEACH program. I think, as you guys tell, like, that's the reason we're home now doing the work, because we did something exceptional, right? Because there's many men inside and women that we still fight for today that have done a lot of exceptional things, but they still can't make it here, right? So that's our push. We're not only fighting for us, we're fighting for our brothers and sisters, and we're also fighting for community. So what I do now is I am the director of BPC Reintegration Program. We have a pilot program that housed people upon release for 2 years. This is one of the biggest programs we have had so far, right? And it's working well. We're working real fast. Like we're going past the deadline. So we're housing people fast. I also have another pilot program where I work with youth. I work with at-risk youth that's in the system. But not only do I work with the youth, I also work with the family as well, right? Because the things that Carter said, we understand that it starts in the household. It's not just the kids coming to school. The household got to be correct too. So we're involved with that. We're involved with just reentry. We're involved with community, and we're involved with trying to help. This is what the education has taught us. This is what it has brought for us and gave to us. So we're most definitely happy to be in this space. I'm also the director for a hub for family shoulders to shoulders. I wasn't gonna say family shoulders to shoulders, I was gonna say participatory defense. I always get caught on that. I know I'm a director for money. But like I said, what we do is we help people in the court system, the ones that can't help themselves. So it's a lot of times in the system that they don't know the mitigating factors. They don't have no one showing up in the courtroom for them. They don't have no one testifying on their behalf. So now that's what we do to be able to help give back and get time back. We have been successful with that, getting a lot of time back. So for us, we need people that write letters of support. We need people to show up in community, right? And there's a whole bunch of things that we can come together and do. And I know you guys are probably doing great work, and we would love to help you as well. So that's who we are. That's what we stand on. And like we said, thank you for being here, because it starts with you guys. It's not. We realized a long time ago that we can't do it by ourselves. So thank you guys.
How's everyone doing today? My name is Seton Moore, I go by C. I am one of the proud reentry navigators through the BPC. I have my boss, my friend, my family member right here, and then I got Mr. Carter as well. These two, and also Jermaine, they met me when I was at my lowest point. A young knucklehead, hot-headed, just pushed through school, didn't know how to read or write at all, and graduated high school without actually knowing how to read or write. I got to Column Bay. These two brothers seen the potential inside of me and didn't let me go to waste. They honed my skills, gave me the tools I needed to become the man that's standing before you guys. An organizer, a helper, a father, a son, a brother. My family is not just blood, but it's these brothers and sisters that are around me. It's those that came before me and the organizers that have helped us to take those steps. I work at the Seattle pilot program, and I have a participant here that we've helped house upon his release. He did a little bit of time, and now he's been able to come back into the community, have the first apartment he's ever had in his name. Be able to live on his own, become a father to his beautiful children, a strong black man that's now reintegrated into the community. We have so many similar stories of the men and women we've been helping. Standing before you right here is over 300 years. All of us putting our time together is over 300 years. And a couple of us that are up here will still be in the system if they didn't fight and continue fighting. So I got a thing I do every time I get up and speak. I challenge the crowd before me. My challenge to you guys is find your lane and help make that change. That's my challenge. With that, I'm complete.
All right.
I am not as elaborate as all of you up here. Let's see, my name is James Rollins. I'm Social Community Director for the Black Prison Caucus Community Group. I got 25 years of organizing with the BPC. I've been out for 3 years, did 26 years, beat the system. Was released. You know, man, I'm just a servant of the community. I'm an organizer. You know what I'm saying? I love my people. I want to make sure these young folks don't go into the systems that we had to go through. I'm very proud of what the brothers have done with the BPC. You know, started to teach. I was not there. I was in every other institution except Column Bay, in other states. But you know, I missed that part. But I'm definitely proud of them because you know I've been knowing these guys since they were little kids. We grew up together, different sides of the track, but we still grew up together. And now we're doing this work together, and we are in the community. We in the system. Changing the system, we're changing the community, we're in the schools, we're in the houses, we're everywhere. And we ain't going nowhere no time soon. I'm complete.
All right.
Before I ask any other questions, does the audience have any questions for our panel? Okay, fella.
Stand up.
By the way, my name is.
Do you need a mic, fella?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
My name is Fella Bryant. I'm a DI officer here, ACO ambassador. So it's kind of my job to help make sure everything is fair and equal for everybody. I grew up playing sports though, so I understand like everybody don't get the same treatment. You got the superstars, the role players, and everybody else. But when trying to create that environment where everybody is on the same playing field, we all just meeting in the middle, especially coming from a perspective of being like lied to and having this illusion thrown at you, and then you get into a space where you see you got that opportunity. What's that like to actually like realize that and not let that fall off? Like, what made you feel like this is my commitment to make sure this, because this is like legacy work. So, what is it that made you feel like I gotta commit to this? I gotta stay dedicated to this, and then help you spread that message to each other to keep each other accountable and locked in on that?
That's a good question. There was a lot there, right? And it was how did we know, and what made us kind of commit to it, right? And it wasn't like we knew like, yeah, this is really it, right? Like this is going to be the thing that changes everything. Because I did over 25 years in prison. And so before I even got to Common Bay, right, I got to Common Bay in 2013, 12, right, the beginning of 2012. So I've already been down about 14 years already. Walla Walla, Monroe, and now at Common Bay. And so prison, like when you think of like bad conditions, right? When you think of real volatile living environments, when you think of dangerous, when you think like prison is all of those things. So is juvenile. And so there's not, a whole bunch of folks running around thinking of great ideas that come up with. Everybody's trying to get out of prison, right? However, I think being in Monroe, and I'll use Monroe because I think the circle for myself as well, right? It was the space in which we were being introduced to a lot of new concepts and ideas and strategies from other folks, right? People who were coming from the community. And a lot of the things that they were introducing to us, we had to study. And then as we started to realize that the ways in which we could help those around us is that we had to teach folks things that they did not know. And so for a long time, right, we did not look at each other as those who possessed the answers to those problems. We was always trying to get somebody from outside to come in and do the work. And I remember one time, we were, again, going back to Willie Williams, we were there, some of our sponsors, we was talking about getting some of the men to come up in prison to talk to us. And we could never really get men to come. It was always women. And I think, somebody finally eventually said, it's like, why are you guys trying to get men to come in prison when y'all are already here? Those guys don't feel like they got anything to offer y'all. That's why they're not coming. And so what it did is it challenged us to really be able to kind of sit with that, was that we were the best things that happened to us. We were. Wasn't no Superman coming. Wasn't no day we was about to wake up and the wall was going to fall down. We realized that all of that responsibility of changing our environment and our circumstances, it was left to us. And if we didn't do it, we were going to end up like the people who was never able to get out of prison, the people who died there. And I think that those were the things that really kind of resonated with us, is that it was in our hands. And so we started to really identify the things that we needed for ourselves. So we started like classes and workshops and, undoing institutional racism. Like we were becoming students again. We were being more open-minded to being able to take in new information. And I think as we began to take in that information and we were sharing it with other folks, we was beginning to see it begin to trickle down into other folks. More people wanted to learn. And so when I got kicked out of Monroe, I got sent to Common Bay when there was nothing, right? So I'm at an institution that has a lot of organizing and a lot of people coming from the community, which was 45 minutes from Seattle. Monroe's like 50 minutes from here, right? Common Bay's 4 hours. And so when I got to Common Bay, there was nothing. There was no cultural classes, there was no opportunities. And so coming from that environment to another institution where all of those things still resonated with us. We were the best things that happened to us. And so what we begin to do is to begin to instill that into our circle. What are the things that we need and how do we provide them to each other? And so I think that being said, I think is that when you find yourself up against some challenges or some obstacles or some policies that may not resonate with who you are, we can't look outside of ourselves as a way of hoping someone comes and fixes it for us, because that person's not coming. And so I think those were the things, right? Is that, and I was amongst brothers, and we was having people coming in, right, giving us the jewels, leaving the breadcrumbs. And I would say those was the inspirations. It was the educators, it was the mothers, it was the community members, it was the organizers who was helping us to basically see we were also just as smart, we were also just as capable, we were also just as brilliant. And as we grew into that understanding, it began to be infectious, right? It began to be contagious. We began to speak. Like when Willie first came to Combat Bay, he was coming out of IMU. You know what I mean? For, what was it? Introduction? Right, but, and so those was, it was just really finding like-minded folks who was willing to just put in those efforts, right? And that was it, right? It wasn't no magic, right? It was determination, and it was just the ability to be able to see that we have to move towards something larger than ourselves, and that's kind of how it resonated with us. I hope that answers your question.
I'll pick back up that real quick too, because I think what he's saying too, like everyone's journey is different, right? But one thing that we did understood is that things were wrong, right? So it was easier for us to come together and fight if we believe that we're all fighting for a mission that is wronging us, right? We knew it was unjust. We knew that there was no way that any of us, if we had more than 7 years, we should not get an education, a basic education. We understood that. So for us to come together on that point was easy, because everyone wants to fight a fight. You know what the hard part was? Keeping us together. Now we gotta believe off of humanity. Now we gotta start thinking about social structure. Now we gotta give these guys literature, because we want them to understand that it's bigger than just this issue. There's more issues. There's a whole bunch of fight for us to fight. So in just saying that, when we first started, it was easy. But then as we kept moving on, it started being more hard. And then that's when the real fight came together. And then that's when people understood, like, now this is a real movement.
For me, it was a little different. It was a little more personal for me. When I was inside, you know, I grew up rough on the hilltop in Tacoma. That's a lot of my family was in that. Actually, I was in the snapshot of it. My mug shot. I usually don't tell people that, but yeah, that was so, and part of that is during all those videos and things that were taken with like my sister, my brother, my cousin, they're all in that film, and I was incarcerated, right? I would have been right there with them, and every time from 11 until I got out of prison when I was, 31, I was in and out of juvenile, in and out of prison, for a long time, and like the only one that always got a long time for some reason. Anyway, but when I was in prison, before I went to prison, I really didn't understand my place in the world. I think I really only understood that I was good at selling drugs, and it came easy to me, and I like to make money. And I knew I couldn't do that forever. I had a child at a young age. So when I was in prison and I started to take classes, specifically sociology, I started to better understand the world and my place in it. And so, you know, so when that light bulb came on and we started to organize inside, once I was released, I was released back into that same environment, right? But I also had my son right away. And I started to see the same pattern in his life that was in mine. And that's what made me stay involved. Is how am I gonna make it? And there was a lot of talk around this time in 2014, 2015 about the school to prison pipeline and all these things. And I started to understand my son is in this pipeline, right? He's 14 years old getting kicked out of school for standing next to somebody smoking weed. Like these are the things, and they're already referring him to classes. He can't go here anymore. You're gonna have to take him to Raymond Hall School. Raymond Hall School is jail. You know, so in his mind, he's no longer good to be at school anymore. He didn't even do anything, and now he has to go to jail. So, you know, I had to disrupt that, and I had to figure out a way to not allow that to happen in my child's life. So that's what got me involved and kept me involved right there.
For me, the work, man, the work saved my life, and I'm gonna tell you why it saved my life. When I first came into the circle, man, I'm gonna tell the story. So this is Monroe. This is '08. I get to Monroe. Monroe was going through a transition. It's becoming, turned into a medium facility, opposed to it being a closed facility. Nobody wanted to leave Monroe. Monroe was like the land of milk and honey as far as how you do your time at that time. So, and I'm new to the system. I'm young. I'm 19 years old. If you're under a certain age, automatically your points are lowered, and they're going to send you to the most maximum craziest institution in the state. Oh yeah, that's a practice that they do, because they feel like if you're this young and you're this naive, then you're going to go somewhere where you're going to, you know, do a whole lot of things. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're active. Instead, you could have left me there as a 19-year-old around a group of my peers who were teaching me how to be a man. And maybe I wouldn't have bumped my head 1,000 times, you know what I'm saying? And maybe I wouldn't have went to every institution in the state, only been there for a total of 2 years. There was a point in time where I didn't get a physical visit for over 10 years because I was too far away, you know? And I don't have too much family out here anyway. So these guys end up becoming my family, you know? So when I came home, before I came home, I talked to this man. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? I was so happy that my man was home. You know what I'm saying? I was so happy my guy, I'm in the day room walking back and forth, walking laps, just yelling, like, yeah, we finally home. Oh, we here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy. I'm still like 8 months away. But if he free, I'm free. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. And so I'm chopping up with my guy, man, and he telling me so much about what's going on. And I started to watch myself. This is around the time I didn't tell you. This is around the time I started separating myself from people. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew I cannot come home the same way that I came in. And I also can't come home on the fence. That's the most important thing. You can't do the work and teeter-totter. Your character behind the scenes is just as important as it is in front of the camera. So you're gonna have to do both. So I made a promise to myself in that yard that day. I said, I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna do this work, bro. And I know it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to tell people I was broke. And I had guys that I knew from the community, and they're still in the streets, but I still got love for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna never dishonor you. I ain't gonna never we're on two different sides of the street, but I still got love for you. Hey, bro, yeah, bro, here, man, take this, man. No, I'm cool, bro. I'm cool, bro. I don't know where I just came from. I'm not going back to there. I'll be broke. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the Jordans ain't that important. You know what I'm saying? I do got J's on, but I pay for these with the taxpayer money. You know what I'm saying?
Buy stock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just don't think it's about a stock.
Oh, yeah, no. We got some things going on, brother. Yeah, we talking. You know what I'm saying? We got some things going on. But nah, for me, this was my passion. This was also my moment of redemption. This is also my moment to get back to the community I took from. You know, and I also got a young niece I love to death. It's my baby. She's great. You know, she's 13 years old. She does a great job, man. She's, you know, she's in sports, everything. But I look at her and I look at my youngest nephew, Lil Trey, and I look at them and I'm like, man, y'all don't even know the kind of person y'all uncle used to be. Only thing they know is who their uncle is today. And that's what I aspire to be, a square. I tell everybody all the time, I am a practicing square. I am trying to be square. You know what I'm saying? You know who else a square is? Bill Gates. You know what I'm saying? These are squares. You know? I mean, you know.
There are things like Bill Gates won't talk about right now, but yeah, he's
Yeah,
square.
you know, the concept of
I
them.
know what you mean.
But now that, you know, Mama G, I don't know, man, that might be the
mean.
wrong, you know.
I know what you mean, you break the stereotypes.
Yeah, I'm breaking, yes
I hear
ma'am.
you, I hear
Yes
you.
ma'am.
Yeah.
So yeah, we break the stereotypes, man, and like I said, these are my brothers, man. Like if I never need something, Seaton, you know, he like he said, like I watched Seaton become Seaton. I watched C become Seaton. Let me take that back. I watched C become Seaton. And I'm so proud of this brother. The first time I seen him, when I came to the clubhouse, man, for the meeting, this is my first time, you know, off of work release. I'm able to drive. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never had a license before. You know what I'm saying? I'm driving all the way from Bellingham to Tacoma. You know what I'm saying? And the first person I see in the driveway was my guy Seaton, and I was happy as hell. Cause everything that he used to be flashed in front of me, and I said, you at the right spot right now, bro. So I know if you're around these guys, they ain't playing no games. And this lady, they ain't playing no games. If you with them, you straight. And automatically at that moment, I'm like, I'm locked in. So me and bro, we talk frequently. We talk all the time, man. And I'm just happy to be out here doing this work, man. It gives me some substance, man. It gives me a path. I'm taking my game that I used to be a part of, and I'm turning that into a positive. And I'm telling my story and being able to inspire other people. So now my new, like I tell you all the time, my only ops is the oppressors. You know what I'm saying? That's the only op I got. I ain't got no other ops. My only op is the oppressor. And I stand on that, you know what I'm saying? So with that, I'm complete.
Got some more questions for us over there? Or anybody in the audience? Oh, we got hands now.
Yes, I am an ACO ambassador here. When it comes to community work, one of the things you said is what's important is to see sour food and not those that are empty. My question is, what other valuable things have you learned from building this community and protecting it?
Talk to me. Hello.
All right, I guess I'll take that question. Truly, there's strength in numbers, we all know that, right? You know, many hands make light work, right? One, there's no I in team, no, there's millions of sayings. But when it comes to your community, there's roots in it. There's roots in your community. Doesn't matter if it's black, brown, white, gray, yellow, pink, whatever. If it barks, if it meows, it's still roots in your community. But there's strength in your community. Your community has power, but just doesn't know how to organize it. We didn't know how to organize it at first, but we knew we had power individually. We had power to harm, but what we didn't realize is that we had the power to heal. So we started healing the communities, but we had to heal ourselves first. So once we went through the path, and I'm gonna speak for myself, I'm still in the healing process. I'm not fully healed. But I've been able to come back to my community, give back to it, and be able to heal with it, and strengthen it as it uplifts me and I uplift it. Good job.
How do you protect it? I think one thing about organizing work is the people that you organize with aren't always going to be the same people. And I learned, and I came to learn this as an educator, right? Just like every class that I teach isn't going to be as fluent and as quick as the last one, right? Because I can have one semester to where everybody's on it, everybody's getting it. It's like, man, we're clicking. Everybody is just, but then you're going to find there times where nobody gets it. You're having to explain over and over and over, and then it's just, it forces you, the educator or the organizer, to be able to now learn what your community is now needing from you. And that's going to be the challenge of the person who has most of the information. You know what I mean? Because they don't know where you're trying to get them to. And so what you're going to have to really be is you're going to have to be patient. And I think another thing is that they also can't see any quit in you if you're trying to encourage them to get and fight through the tough parts. Because if they see you wavering, quitting, belittling people you're also organizing with, then what starts to happen is that you don't have a good group of people in order to really spread the message. And so what it's really going to come down to is just how do the people who are looked at as the leaders or the influencers of that group, what model are you setting for the people that you also want to come along with you? Because a lot of the times when you fail to kind of create a model, right, or you fail to kind of create a standard or an expectation, then what happens is nobody gets what we're supposed to be doing, and it's just chaos. And so chaos is very disorganizing. You know what I mean? And so I would just say is that you definitely have to be, you're gonna have to be patient, right? You're gonna have to look at the bad, the horrible, the destructive, the confrontational, the volatile days. You're gonna have to accept those as a part of the process. Because changing systems isn't easy. Changing minds, changing hearts, changing lives is not easy work. And I would just say is that you have to believe in where it is that you're trying to get, even though you ain't never been there. And so you just gotta continue to be the person that you are hoping everybody else is striving to be. You know what I mean? When you are letting things slide, you're giving other people permission to let things slide. When you're showing up early, when you're trying to grind it out, when you're like, listen, when this is over, us two can kind of sit down and we'll kind of walk over some things in order for us to really be able to get it. You're going to have to put in more work than you want to sometimes. And it's going to be tiring, and you're not going to get rewarded for it. Ain't nobody going to be applauding you in the background. It's just a part of what is going on. And so I'm just going to have to say is that I began to realize in prison that organizing was a lifestyle. It was a lifestyle. Like I had to start changing my life to reflect the work I was doing. And so what started to happen was the people that I also grew up with, that we sat in the same cars, they started to realize that they couldn't use our connection against me because I was standing in my truth. And so I'm just, and I think that that's it, you know what I mean, is that it's organizing is not easy work. I mean, just like being an educator, educating is not easy work. You know, however, if you have the heart and the temperament for it, then you will begin to make a difference in people's lives. And what you'll begin to see is people other than you will start to defend what it is that you guys are doing, because it's that important to them. And that's ultimately how the BPC continued to keep growing, is that people continue to believe in the circle, and ultimately is the reason that it survived this long. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers your question.
Now, add some of that real quick. This is my personal beliefs. I feel like we are in a society, and this is globally, I feel like the spirit is being attacked. You know, globally, every country. It don't matter what it is, I don't feel like nobody is healed. If anybody say they're healed, I have a lot of questions for you. Because once you turn on that TV, you're gonna see this lady getting killed in Minnesota. You're gonna see the president saying that he wanna take over somebody else's country, thinking it's his. You know, and you're gonna see boats being blown out of waters. You're gonna see people who are getting walked up on because of the color of their skin. That's pure racism. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to community organizing, I feel like people gotta have a spirit in that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know, like, this is what I'm doing. You know, and I feel like it's up to the people who are the community organizers as well to make sure they tapping in with that spirit, with that individual. Man, what's up, bro? You good? Because at the end of the day, when you're doing this work, you're taking on a lot of other people's energy. When somebody calls Seaton and be like, hey, bro, man, I can't, man, they trying to kick me out of my apartment, bro. I'm fresh out, man, and this is my first apartment. It's a lot of guys that didn't do the work before they came home. It only takes one thing for them to go backwards. That's on him. That's a part of his job description, is to help someone navigate the things that's going on within their spirit. You know, this is what he signed up for. So when it comes to organizing, I feel like everybody should be tapping in. It don't matter if you're a director of a program, a founder of it don't matter. Everybody is dealing with empath, with empathy. Everybody is dealing with that. So I feel like you have to make sure you're checking on the people that's doing the work in community and just outside of the work. Man, what's up, bro? You good? You know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna talk about the case management over there. We're not gonna talk about what just happened at South Seattle College with this. We're not gonna talk about the incident right now. For this 20, 30 minutes, bro, what's up with your brain? Where you at, bro? Where's your mind at? Where's your soul at? Where's your spirit at? Because then you'll be able to gauge if they can continue to do the work. Or they might need to take a step back and just, be able to decompress. Because that's some of the things that we don't do as well. I came home, hit the ground running, bro. I ain't decompressed with being out. I ain't been out a full year yet. You know, next month is my full year. I have not decompressed. I've been hitting the ground. I've never had a job before. I got a job within 2 weeks of me being out. At a college, of all things. I'm a violent felon. You know what I'm saying? At the most LGBTQ college in the Washington state. You know what I'm saying? Western Washington University. They talk about a culture shock for me. But the kids taught me empathy. Like in real life. And I don't know if they even know this. They taught me empathy. I didn't know a lot of terms. Because I've been in a bounded culture, when we say in mass media. I was in a bounded culture. My bounded culture was prison. I didn't know everything that was going on outside those gates. I only knew what was going on TV. And TV is not telling you everything that's true. They're telling you what they want you to hear. So when I'm around these kids, I'm like, man, why y'all want to free Palestine so bad? You know what I'm saying? Or why does this matter over here? And they explain it to me. I'm like, man, I admire y'all, but y'all are carrying a lot of weight at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of weight. But I have empathy for that. And I want people to, when you're doing this organizing, man, young guys, especially the young guys, y'all doing this organizing, man, check on your partners, man. Don't just let them do the work. Even if they say they okay, check on your partner. Make sure they straight, bro. Go bowling, go do something. Don't just always be in the work, because you will kill yourself. And then you can't do the work, you're a martyr. Oh, that man was great. He did a whole lot for the community, but he didn't do a lot for himself. So make sure you take heed of that, man. Real talk, man. And y'all have each other's back. You know, learn about your brother. Know what your brother or your sister got going on with themselves. You know, and then that's when you are able to continue to do this work the right way, and then we can keep spreading that, infect that. You know, that's the infection that we want to have. With that, I'm complete.
Come on. I think also a little something I want to put on your mind too is don't let money be your motivator, right? Especially when it comes to organizing and doing this work. I know we look good up here, but please don't let us be up here playing. You know, we look good, but for us, it's not about that, right? And the reason I said it is I have seen some great leaders. When funds get involved, they're not so great leaders. So please don't let that be the one that motivates you. Do it because you got that humanity, because you really want to do the work.
We got two back here, we got a sister in the corner.
I got a question too, so.
I don't understand about the protection part of it, because he asked a question. Piggyback a little bit off what Brother said down there, about the protection part of it. Protect like you protect your family. The brother just got through talking about, you gotta check on them, right? You gotta check on who you're organizing with. This is my family right here, right? You don't see the whole of the BPCCG, but the whole of the BPCCG is my family. BPC has been my family for 25 years. When we go through things, sometimes we try to go through them by ourselves, and it's hard, right? So when you protect your blood from the ones that live in your house, you protect what you're doing just like that. This is on my second engagement back out. I've been going through a lot of things for the past 6 months, and I've been in the house. He came and got me out the other day. He came and got me out today. He said, you can't do this no more. You gotta get back in it. You got to get back in it. That's checking on your family. Because they know I love to do the work. They know I love my community. They know I love to see people get released from prisons and juvenile institutions. I love to see that. I've been in love with this work for 25 years. And I don't stop doing it because of this type of stuff right here. Of this right here. If they hear about me going through some things, they call and show up. This guy busted in my house the other day. Last weekend, he busted in my house. Get up. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep doing, you can't just keep moping around. Sister back over there, she hit me the other day and said, you gotta get back in the community. You gotta come back to the circle. Unexpected call, but expected. Right? Unexpected, but expected. That's what protecting it is. You gotta protect it just like you would protect your family. I'm complete.
got it. 3 questions. How do you unlearn things that you have learned that are negative? How do you use the information that you have learned to organize them to impact lives? And how something about academics. Okay, to heal. How do you unlearn? Oh, that, you know what, I'm gonna be honest, some things that I've learned from a young person are very deeply ingrained in me, right? And I'm still trying to unpack and unlearn a lot of that, regularly, you know, and it shows up, in my everyday life in different ways, you know, in my relationships, in my work environment, you know, parenting, different things. And so, you know, it's not an overnight process. It wasn't I just changed overnight and I'm different in that way. I am growing and learning all the time. And that's just being honest. The ways that I hold myself accountable though in those moments, are really focusing on like, where am I at emotionally? Like, how did I impact somebody else? And really just being self-aware in those moments, and also like the awareness and compassion towards other people. And I think that's kind of how I use that to what was the part? I don't want to miss, you know, questions.
The community, how do you use that in the community to help?
She said something else about educated people using the information.
Educating people, turning it into the oppressor.
Okay, yeah, and so, okay, for sure. So I recognize that in a lot of work that I do, and have done, especially, right? So I was a pathways reentry manager for women coming out of prison, helping them navigate higher ed, right? You know, financial aid, applying to college, all those things. So I worked around a lot of, and also there's a higher ed program that operated inside the women's prison. And so I worked around a lot of academics. And the one thing with all these folks is, with all the education and the knowledge that they held, they were unaware of their oppressive, you know, mindsets, and it was like a culture of oppression for me. You know, I worked in this environment, and it was like, you know, they were providing me an opportunity to have a job, but they weren't doing any work that was accountable, right? So it was, Shawanda, we want you to come speak on a panel, but, you know, it was like a dog and pony show, right? I say this all the time when I talk to folks in the community, is there was a lot of tokenism that happened. There was a lot of ways in which not just myself, but other women, and some of us folks that I've organized with, some of the brothers that experience this too, like we've been exploited in this work because of our experience, because of the knowledge that we've had. People have started nonprofits and build their careers around the experiences that we've had as children as well, right? And so we understand that. You know, but we keep the relationships with the Dr. Shepherds and the people that came to us to help support us, right? But there are definitely those in positions of, you know, of power, essentially, because anytime that there's not shared power, there's an abuse, right? We know that. So it doesn't matter if you were, you know, the teacher and the student, or whatever the relationship, if there's not shared power in the relationship, there's an abuse happening there. Right, and that's what equity is all about. So I'm gonna just end there with somebody else.
Start backwards, right? I think for the work that we do, you know, I know it's, you know, we want everybody to kind of do it and not look to be incentivized or any of that type of stuff, but we still got to be able to pay our bills and all that type of stuff at the end of the day. And so the worst thing that you could do is to allow a system to essentially extract your resources, your intelligence, for no compensation. That's the worst decision that you can make. And so I would say is, when you're dealing with community, and this is just how we used to do it, is we're giving the information, we're giving the game away to community. We're not charging community nothing, because we realize that the community stands to benefit the most from the knowledge that I have. And so it's incumbent upon me to be able to get that information away, to give that knowledge away, to give my insight and my perspective away to somebody in which I think it can help. And so in this work that we do, I'm not selling the game that I got for profit, even though I realize it's real valuable. And so in prison, that was the game for us. We're giving it away. We want so many people advocating for change in classes and better living conditions and all that type of stuff to where it begins to be the thing that everybody is now advocating for. On the part with regards to the how do you not become the oppressor, I think that's always, it kind of aligns to the similar vein, is that I am looking to, I'm looking to be able to share information with people who is also willing to share with me. I'm looking to create opportunities for people who are also willing to create opportunities with me. And so a part of me learning history, right, a part of me going to school is that I'm beginning to realize that all of these curriculums and books and all that type of stuff, they wasn't designed and created for me. I'm able to see that in the history. Like, this wasn't for me. This game that they've written here, it was to keep the system in place. And so the question is how do we begin to offer this information contrary to how it's always been offered? And again, that's what we did with Teach, was that Teach was free college education. That's anti-capitalism. That's anti-system work, right? Because in order for you to go to college here, you got to get tuition and pay for books and all of those different types of things. So I think what you have to do is to begin to decolonize your mind and your practice in order for you not to become just like the oppressor. And I think Paulo Freire, right, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, is a great book just to be able to look at, to engage, and to really kind of digest some different strategies as a way of implementing decolonizing practices. Something else, what was the first thing she said?
How do you
Unlearn.
Oh, unlearn, right? And so another thing that I've also realized is you can't undo what's already been done. You can't undo. And so what you have to do is you have to continue to go further down the path. You have to continue to learn more information. Because if I would have just took what was given to me and not interrogated it, not critically analyzed it, not put on those critical lenses as a way of trying to figure out how does this harm, how does this help, then I would never arrive at that place to where I was able to see the white supremacy in the practices. You know what I mean? Because, white supremacy is about conquering and dividing the things that don't line up. And so for many of the black and the brown folks, we were realizing is that we didn't all speak the same language or have the same strategies or come from the same community. But just because we were different didn't mean that it was wrong. And so we accepted people for who they were. And so I would say is we just begin to realize that the more that we learned, the more we was able to undo a lot of the harmful teachings that was kind of given to us as a way of holding up the system. And so, and again, I just think it really just starts with learning, right? Learning from those who you realize have a decolonizing mindset, anti-racist principles and practices. And then when you see those things begin to come up in people's organizing, even if you are in a room full of white folks, I think you have to be able to call it out. You have to be strong enough to be able to interrogate it and let that sit with folks in order for them to be able to see that this is exactly what they're doing. And so for us, we as prisoners, we knew we never was in a position of power, because the guards can come and haul us away to another institution, and then whatever we had would be gone. So it was really about the things that we learned and how we was able to really pass that on to each other, and that's how we was able to sustain ourselves. I hope that answers your question.
Hi everyone, I'm one of the ACO navigators as well, and I'm really grateful for y'all for being here. It feels like a very, very big privilege that we have right now of bringing you all on campus. And I just want to say thank you.
especially for the amount of folks who came today to show up for us. I know that we really appreciate it, all of us, and I know folks who came from other campuses to also be here, as well as our district administrative office, but including myself, so I'm really glad that we're able to be here. So thank you y'all for coming here and staying for this too. I'm really grateful. My question is, especially during, and this might be, I'm gonna try not to make it long-winded, but have you noticed, like in the organizing and community work, have you noticed any changes that had happened when the pandemic started? As well, like, or any like obstacles or challenges, as well as things that made things also more accessible possibly, or made things easier to organize and create community, and also, and coming out of COVID, kind of coming out of COVID now, you have like a whole new generation of people who are now adults, and how that also dynamic might have affected that in the organizing and the work coming out of, quote unquote, coming out of COVID. But I was just very, very curious to know that, because I know from a community organizer standpoint from the outside, there are certain things that had changed that we as community try to use our advantage as well as obstacles, but I'm really wondering how that looks like within the prison system as well too.
Okay, I think I can answer that for pretty much all of us. No, Shabu was out. She was the only one who was out during COVID. So all of us was locked up during COVID. And so COVID, eventually the system used COVID as an excuse to start taking back things that we already had.
Save up.
You know what I mean? And so it wasn't no benefits, right? So I'm gonna give you, so I was at Column Bay, 2019, I got kicked out of Column Bay for a work strike, food strike organizing. So about 33 of us got shipped out of Column Bay to Walla Walla, all that type of stuff. So anyway, I ended up at Stafford right before COVID. And we had teach classes, all that type of stuff. But once the world went on lockdown and then no one was allowed in, Teach was a program where prisoners taught other prisoners for the most part. And so because there was no staff, because there was no programming, they were still allowing us to teach with social distancing practices. But then once we started to get back to regular scheduled production, then now they started coming through with all of these rules that basically saying now we can't even have a class without a supervisor. So essentially during COVID, those couple of years, they relied on us to continue to do what we were doing. But then as soon as COVID started to die down, then they started to use those reasons as opportunities of being able to take away the things that we had. And so I think COVID also gave them an opportunity of being able to kind of reset some of the progresses that we were able to make. So once COVID went away, all of the things that we had prior to that were gone. And so there wasn't a lot of benefits that we received during COVID. Like we didn't get no visits, we didn't get no any of those things. But I knew that the system still today, they are still struggling with the effects of COVID. So I would say on the negative side, it kind of cost us some of the progress that we made because the system was the ones who had the power.
So for me being out, it was different because community was, we had stay-home orders, right, y'all, that were out there around, So, like, for example, I organized with groups, I just ended working with Washington Camp, so I was doing policy advocacy work. However, the main group of folks I organized with was the Village of Hope. And we had just transitioned from Village of Hope out at White Center to a space in kind of the downtown-ish. No, actually, it was another building in White Center. We were gonna go to the downtown space. I think we met a couple times there, and then just ended up in a community center at White Center. So we had just transitioned from the building that we had been organizing in for years to another space. And so it was a lot of transition, and then shortly thereafter, COVID happened. So it kind of disrupted a lot of things. For me, I was already like coming a distance from Tacoma to White Center, and so not having community, you know, because community organizes very differently in Tacoma, and what community looks like that organizes is very different in Tacoma. So for me, it was important that I organized with people that looked like me, that had the same values and aligned goals for community that I have, right? And that were also teaching me different ways to be accountable to my community, right? And so that was different than what was happening in Tacoma. And I won't go into all the politics of what happens there. But so it was very difficult to organize, you know, and also because things were moving to technology, you know, I didn't have that experience, right? I was very had an aversion to technology for a very long time being in prison. When I came home, I didn't even know how to send an email, right? I didn't know how to set one up or do all those things. So, you know, all of a sudden having to figure out Zoom and all these things and sitting group meetings and all that, I was not able to, like, it took me a while to get, you know, and the only reason I was able to figure it out after even a little bit was because we had Canva at school. And so I had to go through this whole tutorial for like 3 weeks trying to figure out Canva at school. So it kind of gave me an understanding of like how to navigate Zoom a little bit. So, you know, because I was working and I was starting to try to organize a group of women in the community that were formerly incarcerated out of the work I was doing as a reentry pathways navigator, right? So it was just different being out here and not being able to meet with people face to face. And then also like the Zoom option kind of left a lot to be desired, right? Like there was not the same connection, the same engagement over video that it was like in person. So it was just difficult. But more than anything, I think what I realized is that the people that were inside, right? My son was inside during COVID. Like I was not able to connect with my people inside, like at all, you know, at all. So it was like, at a certain point, it didn't matter that, you know, because they couldn't have visits, they wouldn't even let them get out to make phone calls. Like, it was weeks, you know, so to where we, you know, held protests on the Capitol to release people, we were able to get people released, but like, we were out there like, you know, on the governor's doorstep, Jay Inslee's doorstep, to where finally they passed, DOT passed them, they just started letting a couple people out, they would have to do something, they knew, because it was getting to that point, right? So, you know, I think one of the protests, we had like carried a coffin. You could carry the coffin on the Olympia Center. We were serious though, you know, we were serious about our family. And that's one thing I do know. And so, yeah, organizing was very different. And social distancing, you know, it just, I think we lost a lot of people that were, you know, engaged in just like really trying to, you know, a lot of elders, a lot of people that were like essential to the work were lost in there.
I was locked up during COVID, and really what the prison system used COVID for was for their own agenda. They would allow half a day room at a time, so it'd be upper tier and lower tier. You come out for about an hour and a half, you had to utilize the microwave, you had to utilize the phone and shower in that time frame. So you really had no socializing outside of that, because you had to clean up your cell too. You don't want to be in a dirty environment. You got the COs coming in there, they coughing on everything. You're getting fed in the units, they're not even letting you leave the unit. You're not getting any visits. And don't be in the hole when it happens, because now you're either, if it's wintertime, you ain't got no heat in there. The shower's either cold, boiling hot, or ice cold. There's no middle. The whole just imagine 2 of these tables combined. Concrete slab, what, like 3 feet off the floor. You got a mattress this thick, giving you any type of comfort, lights on 24/7. You gotta stand at the line to give your child. You're coming out 3 days a week to work out, shower, call your people, that's it. And you're in a glass cage. Just imagine seeing a human being at the zoo in the tiger exhibit with only a pull-up bar and a cell phone in there. I mean, not cell phone, a payphone. It's the only spot in the world you'll see a payphone is in prison. You don't see them on the streets no more. But, you know, COVID, they had their own agenda, and they made it known. So like he said, they allowed us to have some education. But then once COVID eased up, then it was no, we're taking it away. You guys gotta be 6 feet apart. For religious service, I'm Muslim. We had to pray shoulder to shoulder. Keep Satan out, the devil out. We were unable to do that. We were unable to practice our spiritual beliefs. They had their agenda that was to cause more mental and emotional harm than anything else.
Thank you, everyone. We made it through.
I got a question.
I said we overtime, they said they're about to kick us out.
We got a question.
We gotta go.
Let this brother ask him his last question.
If I may, yeah, quickly. So in the movie, they didn't talk about brain development. As you got released, right? Because it was unconstitutional to send somebody that young to prison. You're out now, but they won't put you back. So you want to talk about that maybe a little bit?
Well, Washington State passed, Washington State Supreme Court passed a case called Monchke and Bartholomew. And so what it did is it just extended the brain science development from under 17 to extend it to the age of 20. And so, like you see in the film, they denied me my clemency hearing. However, the law change came kind of quickly after that, around 2020. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up going back to get resentenced in 2022. And they ended up resentencing me from 777 years to 340 months, which was, roughly 28 years. So the brain science was, the reason myself, Willie Nobles, did you use the brain science too? Jim James, and quite a few folks who were sentenced as young kids, either in Seattle or Pierce County or many of the other counties here, went back and got resentenced, and many of those folks who were in that film, they're now in community now. So the brain science was something that just really allowed Washington to catch up to that type of understanding that the world should have known all the time, that kids should be held to the standard of adults. And so here I see it.
Excellent, great job. And when you introduce you guys, you didn't talk about like how to contact you. If you run a nonprofit, because I'm going to donate to your organization, website, stuff like that. So.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so we are in the development stages of our website. However, it will be up and running this Friday. So just thank you for that. It's been a long time coming.
Was there a name?
We do have,
Is there a name to the website?
yes, bpccg.org.
Okay, great,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes,
I also, you can scan this QR code or tap your phone to the card, and I can either email you, call you, or text you with some information. Let me know
yes,
if anyone's,
please share widely information. We're a small nonprofit, all support helps us. I also would like to say too, if you are interested in getting involved in any kind of legislative policy work or support, like for myself, the crime I was committed and sentenced to 10 years in prison, you can't even go to jail for anymore. So like what community says matters. I just want to say that. And thank you for having us out here. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
I want to get a picture. Can we get a picture?
Yeah.
Picture, yeah.
Get a picture, everybody. We need you. We need you. Come on. Mutual aid. You got to get in this picture. You got to get in this picture. Let's get everybody.
All right. Picture time. Who wants to be in the picture? If you really don't, you can take the picture, maybe.
We need everybody in the picture. We need everybody in the picture. Come on over here. Get in the picture.
So I'm streaming to YouTube.
All right,
My phone.
leave
So
it
right
leave
here.
it right there.
Yeah, so we kind of move around right now, so.
Come on, everybody. Come on, Shabu. Come on over here so we can get everybody in the picture. Shabu.
Yes.
All right, boom. Hey, here we go. Look at that wonderful picture, everybody. Can everybody see themselves? Hey, man, we outside, man. Hey, freedom all. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Freedom all. Hey, got it. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Stuff's in my office. You know where to find it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It wasn't because of anything, bro.
There's something with the individual I express.
It's crazy I say this, right? Mr. Miller is still here. Yeah, I need you. Did
BBC is working on the college informally, and I think fellows might be what you're thinking too. Yeah, we have student government, we're the diversity office.
you know what though,
And then they'll give you the option to share your information with me, and I'll give it
We came back, we're here now. Thank y'all for being here,
That's how you pronounce the name?
Yeah, I also don't have any attachment to how it's pronounced, but, yeah, much appreciation. Thank you all for all the wisdom.
Whenever you guys need us, man, to come out, I just connected with one of your young, listen, man,
Enjoy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sure.
Where's this gonna be
It's
at?
iBrother on YouTube.
iBrother.
The letter I, brother.
Okay.
So
We'll probably share that.
YouTube.com/the iBrother. That gets, and so look at all the things, and live is one of the links to look at.
Okay.
Okay? Yes. Great.
They
You're
don't
welcome.
need that on Bainbridge Island. They need that in West Seattle. You know what I'm saying? With the community. So make sure you don't let him go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Keep the resources in the community. That's what you're supposed to do. Gotta keep it in the community. This is a strong guy y'all got here, man. He's honest, man. He's dope, man. And like I said, I want to connect with you.
Pardon, sorry we're like blocking you in, yeah.
Oh, no.
We're so excited.
Gotta be a process. And that's it. It's really about talking. It's about having conversations. And a lot of people are scared to have tough conversations because they're scared of conflict.
It's the fears, it's the
Yeah, it's
element
just the
of
scared
fear.
of conflict or hurting somebody's feelings or something. If somebody is really creating more harm, then fuck this feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, it's about getting what's
Bro,
done
you are
right.
a part of it. You know what I mean? And that's it. And if you can continue to be that voice and encourage other people to be that voice, what you'll realize is that it comes across the way it's supposed to. But yeah, that's it, man. Just continue to keep going.
I appreciate that, Joe. I appreciate that for sure. We definitely got a few things that we definitely be doing together.
And I'll hit you up, man, and send you my email.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Anytime, like I said, if it's in my power and I can do it for you, I'm definitely down. I'm always down for something like that. But I just appreciate y'all sharing y'all time. Y'all stay safe.
I just wanted to thank you for everything and for talking and sharing your story. I'm Carlin Number, giving the word. I'm the prison ed and reentry navigator at Seattle Central.
Okay, reentry navigator.
Yeah, so I help people navigate that jail one system. But yeah, no, I learned a lot today. And I don't know. I got you had to share.
Thank you for coming from Seattle Central.
Yeah, of course. Not gonna miss it for sure.
Can I get your card too?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, great.
You need to pull up to Seattle Central. We can do that too, because we have relationships.
Yeah, I think I saw the flyer for your documentary on one of the teachers' doors too. So
Ali and Maria and them guys used to be.
Yeah, so I'm in Maria's position. Yeah, she's not there anymore.
Maria in Atlanta. She moved.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah, she moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
But yeah, they was the ones helping us with our distance learning
Yeah.
program. So we were doing a lot of our correspondence
Cool.
through Seattle Central.
Well, me and my students were working on starting a second chance club for formerly incarcerated. Yeah, and so that's definitely on my list of things to do once we're established is bring the film in and yeah, I'll let you know. Good to meet you. Congratulations on getting married.
Thank you too. I'm still congratulating myself for getting invited to that joint.
Hey, good job, man.
Always
All right.
congratulate themselves, but get that on camera. It's always, they all of them
Right.
love to congratulate themselves.
Well, they've been through a
They
lot.
deserve it. I'll give them a round of applause too.
Right?
All right,
Okay.
I'm out of here. It was
All right.
nice meeting you.
Definitely.
You take care.
Okay, you too, sis. Be well.
See you later.
Okay.
Y'all ready?
Your man, Dr. Boyd, Dr. Jackson. I'm in South Seattle College right now. Just finished the discussion, the screening of Since I've Been Down documentary that is done by Dr. Gilbert Shepard out of Tacoma. And talk about the crack epidemic and some bad things have happened. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.